The third critical choice I made was to build trust. Now, for me, and there was a distinct, and I love your use of choice in this entire interview because that's where my anchor is. It was actually an active choice to say to myself, what do I need to do to build trust in me? Because I just needed to trust myself before I could inspire the trust of others. For me, I learned that if I did the little things great, if I just focused on making good small decisions every day, like literally get to my gym job on time,
Yeah.
that's what started to build trust in myself. Will you share a time that you had to build trust in yourself? And then if you remember how you did it, what's some wisdom that you have about how you built trust in yourself?
How did I build trust in myself? So I think that really in the beginning of when I was leading these medical training teams, it was so scary because one, I didn't have a medical background. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, and I'm designing programs to lead these medical teams of all of those people. And I'm going into countries and into situations that I've never been to. So it wasn't like these were established projects. I would be going in blind. We would be, have pre-calls with our in-country partners. I would just sort of hope that it all worked out. And I had to really trust in my ability that I was going to be able to navigate whatever challenge was thrown at me when we got there, because I knew there was going to be, because you can't go into a project blindly and it's all going to work out. So I already had the mindset knowing that nothing was going to go as planned. And I didn't even know what I didn't know yet. And so I kept building my trust trip after trip by overcoming those challenges, because I always stayed focused on the mission at hand. And so instead of trying to look at myself of oh, I'm not doing this right, or I could do this better, or I don't have the right skills, or if I was just this, no, it was that I truly knew that whatever was thrown at me, we were going to figure it out. And I was going to make sure this team was safe and fulfilled and doing the mission that they had said yes to, and that the mission would be accomplished no matter what. And I kept building my trust in that by surviving them, but also, like you said, making the small steps and not beating myself up. Or and I don't mean like the advice isn't like just expect the worst to happen and you'll be fine, but I think it's putting realistic expectations on
Yeah.
the things that are in front of you. And that if you've never done something before, or you don't have all the information, or you're trying something new and you expect for it to all just be great, or that you can like do every bit of research to make sure it's all going to work out, it's not. And so trusting
Yeah,
that you
right.
have the ability to navigate, to pivot, to make the changes that are needed, and that your commitment to the choice that you made in the first place to even do what you're doing was your choice. You chose it in the first place. I chose this. So you have to own it and then make the steps forward to make it happen.
I could see how just that. So you work with leadership teams now around the world, professional leadership teams now, CEOs, whatever. Does that play? Does trust when you were working with leadership teams? Do you guys get? I mean, I could just see how the example that you just gave could be so relatable to what leaders in any position are dealing with when they're trying to navigate
Absolutely.
their mission.
And how you build that trust, right? I think is really what we talk about, and who you are and why we're so connected is the authenticity of who you are. And so the more that you are authentic and help people feel safe in a situation, and help people know that you don't know all the answers and I don't know all of them. And when I would lead teams, it's not that I knew exactly how we were going to do everything, but I knew we would get through it. And that's a different level of confidence and of trust within myself, that I don't know exactly how this is going to happen. But by me trusting in my abilities, in my belief in what we're trying to accomplish, and trust in that we have the right team to figure this out. We don't know exactly how it's going to be, but that sort of initial trust in each other and in the mission at hand, it builds the confidence, which to me authentically can keep building the trust and the momentum.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Choose and Become interview series. To check out more episodes, go to www.trishkendall.com/podcast, or go to any of your favorite podcast channels, including YouTube, under Trish Kendall Speaks, and you'll find this interview and more. Choose and become.